going to talk today specifically about ways in which you can save money and effectively fix your finances through the coronavirus period. So, Shaz, are you there?
I am. Hi, Mark.
Hello. Good to see you. Great to see you today.
Good to see you too, as always.
Yeah. So, okay. So we've got a whole list of things which are possible for people to claim, grants, loans, and lots of other stuff. So the first thing is the sick pay, 94.25. Check you're eligible. Tell us more about that. It's not a lot of money, but I suppose it all adds up.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing to note for everybody is, of course, we're going through a health crisis right now, but at the same time, we're also going through a finance crisis. So it's really important, Mark, for people to be focused on their finances, to be laser focused, as you would say, on their finances, like they've never been before, and to make sure they're looking after their finances, just like they're looking after their personal health right now. So in terms of statutory sick pay, previously, obviously, an employee has to be off work for 4 days before an employer can claim statutory sick pay. What the government has done now is they are reimbursing the first 2 weeks. After that, the employee can carry on claiming sick pay for up to 28 weeks. So it's a pretty generous offer from the government. So if somebody is having to self-isolate or they're vulnerable and they're having to shield, this is a pretty good thing that they can take advantage of. But of course, you're going to move us on to something even better in a moment. So I won't talk too much about sick pay because the next item I think is where most people will benefit.
Okay, fine. So you're sort of you've got the sick pay. Are you focusing on furloughing at the moment? Have you been? I know you've got an accountancy practice. Have you put a lot of applications through for companies to claim the sort of furlough money so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So the portal opened up yesterday,
Yeah.
and it's been crazy. So HMRC tell us that they can process 450 up to 450,000 claims per hour, and we were on the portal from yesterday morning. And I must admit, it's been pretty good. It works okay. It's a bit onerous in the sense that if you've got more than 100 employees, then you can upload the data automatically. But if you've got less than 100 employees, then every single employee needs to be added on individually.
Do they?
From that point of view. But in terms of how the portal is working, it's working well at the moment. Early days though, but working well. And HMRC are saying they'll make the first payments within a week, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and I understand it has now been clarified that on top of the 2,500 that you can claim per month, you can also claim the national insurance and also the 3% pension contribution.
Yeah, absolutely. So the limit is 2,500, so you can claim 80% of the 2,500. On top of that, you've got the employer's PAYE above and beyond the 2,500, and the minimum auto enrollment pension payments as well. So it's a pretty generous scheme, to be honest.
Yeah. Are you doing many for the self-employed? I mean, most of the self-employed people that I speak to, they don't qualify. Their friends don't qualify. Most of the trades I speak to, maybe they're getting a little bit. What are you finding with your customers?
Generally speaking, with our clients, most of them don't qualify because their profits are above the £50,000 limit. But there are a few who may qualify. So if they've got trading profits and more than 50% of their income is from trading profits, and it's less than £50,000 for the tax year 2018-19 or the previous 3 tax years, including 18-19, then HMRC will contact those taxpayers in June and will make a payment to them if they've been affected by COVID-19. That particular scheme, Mark, in my opinion, is an okay scheme. It could have been better.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to at least get something, wouldn't it?
It would have, just to come back on to furlough, because I know this has been asked many times, and I have covered it in the community by way of or through writing. But if you're a director, you can furlough yourself. You can't do any work for the company apart from statutory filings and other statutory duties. Other than that, you can't work for the company, but you can furlough yourself. Also, as the rules stand right now, Mark, if you furlough yourself and then you were to set up as a sole trader and do some work as a sole trader or a partnership, nothing in the rules as they stand stops you from doing that.
Okay.
Somebody wants to furlough themselves and start a sole trader or a partnership business selling some kind of a service or a product, there's nothing in the rules right now which stops them doing that.
But do you not need to have been self-employed on a certain date?
No, this is basically, so this isn't to claim the self-employed income support scheme. For that, you must have filed your tax 2018-19 tax return. If you haven't filed your 2018 tax return, you've got to file it by the 23rd of this month, which is in 2 days' time. The point that I'm making is, if somebody furloughs themselves and says, I've got loads of time on my hands now, what do I do? If they are a company director, well, they can start up a sole trader business and start something else or start selling other services to generate further income. Because obviously,
Oh, I see. So they're effectively not working as an employee of their limited company for the purposes of
absolutely,
the furlough. They're doing a different activity as somebody who's self-employed and therefore not caught by the rules that say
furlough,
you
yeah.
can only do statutory filing if you're furloughed.
Yeah, and in most cases, in my experience, at least anyway, most directors are on £8,500 a year, so they are earning around about £700 a month. But if they're going to get 80% of £700 a month, that isn't that much. It's not enough to keep them going.
No.
If they want to generate further income, that's a possibility.
So that's the money. If you're a director, that's the money you get if you're furloughed. If you're a director and you're paying yourself effectively the about 9,000, where the band in which you don't pay any income tax. If you receive that through as PAYE as income from your limited company as a salary, and have done by the date in, is it March, that
19th of March.
19th of March, that's the money you'd get as a director. But if you're drawing dividends, you're not going to get 80% of that money as well.
No, you're not. So it's only your employment income.
Yeah,
That's right. Hence why it's not going to be a big figure for most directors, because they're on low salaries and then they're compensating the rest of the income by taking dividends.
So my understanding is, in addition to that, obviously we've got this coronavirus business interruption loan. I'm applying for one of those at the moment. About sort of 3-4 weeks ago, that started off with the bank saying you need a full personal guarantee. Then it moved to the bank saying you need 20%, a personal guarantee for 20% of the outstanding loan balance. And now it seems to be that there'll be no personal guarantee on that money at all. That's a loan of 3.5. Sorry, that's a loan of. Well, I suppose it depends on the bank what interest rate you're going to pay. But my understanding is it will be unsecured, so that there won't be a charge on any buildings. But you need to be able to show profits which will support repayment of that loan over a 5-year period. And the bank I'm talking to want the interest cover to be worked out on, I think, 6.5% at 150% coverage. It's a bit like a property.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly that's based on historical profits. So I found that quite interesting. I'm just watching that move as the media has put more pressure on the banks in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Have you managed to get any of your clients through or have any of your clients actually got through this process now? And are there any banks that you're finding are good?
It's swings and roundabouts. So as you say, Mark, the first thing is if a business wasn't in a decent or a reasonable financial condition before all of COVID-19 kicked in, then the chances of them getting a loan is reduced. So they should have had a good business pre-COVID-19. They should have a good business post-COVID-19. That's the first thing. The second thing is I've seen banks be reasonable, and then I've seen them be unreasonable with other clients. So it's swings and roundabouts, and every bank is interpreting the rules slightly differently, and they are applying different criteria in terms of income, profits, interest cover, that type of stuff. I think what's important for people to know, and then they should know, is that you can only get 25% of your turnover or 2 times your wages or your salary bill. It's limited to that. So if your turnover is only £300,000, they'll only give you 25% of that, which would be a maximum of £75,000.
Yeah.
So, but apart from that, I'm seeing banks are being reasonable. I was talking to you last week regarding one of my businesses, and the bank came back same day and said you've got two options. You can have £100,000 now straight away at 3.19% over 6 years, or you can apply for more money, but then we need cash flow statements, management accounts, a business plan, and it's going to take longer, and we'll be asking more questions. So what I'm finding is up to £100,000 you can get quicker as long as your business qualifies and meets the criteria.
So I suppose it's all about how much you're applying for, and also versus, I suppose, your profitability and the size of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it's got to be a trading business. If you're a property investor, not really too keen to lend money to you, especially if you're a buy-to-let landlord, you're not going to qualify anyway. But most banks are being very reasonable, and there's a few more, not high street banks, but there's a few more lenders who have been added to the system, so that should open up opportunities. But what I am finding though, Mark, is most high street banks are saying you can't change your bankers now, so go to the bank you were banking with, and if they don't offer you a loan, then don't come to us because we're not taking on new clients, especially for the coronavirus loan.
Interesting. I think I got similar from our bank. I put a friend through, and they didn't seem that interested. I suspect because he doesn't bank with them already.
I'd have seen that as an opportunity to take on more business, but obviously banks are exceptionally busy right now.
They've always got loads of business, haven't they? They're all sort of ring fenced and almost like arms of the government in some way, aren't they? The FCA tells them what to do, and they just seem to do it, and they just get all the business by default.
Yeah, they do, don't they? You're right. Yeah.